We start with the latest after yesterday's historic elections. At the top of the ticket, a Democratic sweep. Gretchen Whitmer, Jocelyn Benson, and Dana Nessel all winning re-election against their Republican challengers.
It was also a historic win for Hillary Scholten. For the first time since the 1970s, a Democrat will represent Grand Rapids in Congress. It's also the first time a woman will represent the city.
The real win for Democrats, though, is the shift in power in Lansing. The party is expected to gain control of both the state House and Senate for the first time in 4 decades.
And big changes are coming to the legislature and the way that we vote. All 3 proposals passed last night, including one that will enshrine abortion rights in the state constitution.
That's where our team coverage picks up tonight. News 8's Megan Bunchman is in the newsroom now with a look at Proposal 3. And Megan, what comes next?
Michelle and Brian, we called the race for Prop 3 just after midnight this morning, with the final vote coming in at 56.7% yes to 43.3% no. And now that we know abortions will remain legal within the state of Michigan, the question falls to when the new verbiage will become a law. As the shock and awe of election night begins to fade, eyes now turn to what Michigan's new constitutional law on abortion rights will say.
I have no doubt that there are going to be lawsuits over the meaning of this proposal. There always are.
The current language states that the passage of Prop 3 establishes a new individual right to reproductive freedom, allows the state to regulate abortion after fetal viability, invalidates conflicting state laws already on the books, like Michigan's 1931 abortion ban, and forbids the prosecution of anyone seeking, getting, or performing an abortion.
There'll certainly, be moves almost immediately to define those terms, trying to figure out what they mean, and either expand or retract them depending on your point of view.
But when it comes to the nuance of the proposal's wording, adjunct election law professor at Cooley Law School Mark Brewer says it will be up to the courts to decide on any ambiguities.
It will go into the Constitution, and like prior proposals, but then, again, if there are questions, ultimately judges, up to and including the Michigan Supreme Court, will decide exactly what it means.
Tomorrow, the Michigan Board of State Canvassers will start its process in counting Tuesday's vote. They will meet again no later than November 28th to either certify or not certify all election results.
Once that happens, Roe v. Wade, the substance of the Roe v. Wade decision, will be the permanent law of Michigan in the state constitution.
Michigan law then dictates that the new law will take effect 10 days after the official declaration of the vote, which means if Prop 3 is certified by the board, abortion rights will be enshrined within Michigan's constitution on or before December 8th. As for ongoing legal battles, Brewer, who represents Planned Parenthood in one of those cases, says,
no decisions have been made, but we will be analyzing those lawsuits in light of what the voters did yesterday, and then we'll approach, in this case, the Michigan Supreme Court, which is where the case is pending, with our suggestions about how to proceed.
Now, the State Board of Canvassers will also spend the next several weeks certifying votes for also Prop 1 and 2 as well. Brian.
Megan Bunchman, thank you. And we are still waiting for things to be finalized, but it appears the State House and Senate are both flipping blue in Michigan. Here's a look at the shift of power in the Michigan House. Democrats are projected to gain 3 seats, giving them a slim majority. In the state Senate, Democrats are projected to gain 4 seats. Republicans have had control of this chamber since 1984. We caught up with some of the winners in West Michigan to ask what it means that Democrats will have control of the legislature and executive branches for the first time in decades.
Does it also mean no excuses? Nobody to get in her way?
I think that what it means is that we can work together in a very smart way. Yes, we have a razor-thin margin in the House, but I think what it means is that we can work together in that collaborative manner to put Michiganders first.
Is there also okay, no excuses, got nobody blocking the way?
Sure, but you also have to remember the margin is pretty tight. So maybe they're going to have a Democrat that won't agree with them, and maybe they need to pick up a Republican.
Following her win over Republican challenger Tudor Dixon, Governor Whitmer preached unity during her victory speech this morning, vowing to represent all of Michigan. The governor said she will work with anyone to come up with solutions. With Democrats sweeping statewide offices and projected to win the state House and Senate, Whitmer promised to hit the ground running, especially on education after learning losses during the pandemic. The governor said Michigan has delivered record investments in public education and closed the equity gap, but she wants to expand tutoring to make Michigan schools among the best in the nation.
Now it's time to really focus on getting Michigan to a top 10 state in literacy, and that's through individualized tutoring. I recommended that to the legislature. We've not gotten it done yet, but I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to move forward.
Governor also outlined her economic vision for the next 4 years, focusing on projects to make more cars, semiconductors, and clean energy. Following the results this morning, Tudor Dixon released a statement conceding in the race for governor and saying Michigan's future does not rest in elected officials, but all of us.